right, ladies and gentlemen, the big update coming in from the national capital. The second CCS meet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now concluded. Currently, the Prime Minister is chairing the key CCPA meeting. Remember, the CCPA meeting is on political affairs. The earlier one, the CCS, was the Cabinet Committee on Security meeting, which has concluded. Details still trickling in as to what exactly transpired in that meeting. But right now, as we speak, viewers, a crucial CCPA meeting is underway. It includes, of course, the Prime Minister, the Defence Minister, External Affairs Minister, the NSA, as well as other cabinet ministers that are part of how India moves forward as far as its response to Pakistan-sponsored terrorism is concerned. But remember, this is just the second meeting of the day that is taking place. The first has already happened, the Cabinet Committee on Security. The one on political affairs is currently underway, but after this, multiple meetings are lined up through the day by the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, as well as the Cabinet meeting that is scheduled to take place later in the evening. Extremely crucial, hectic parleys that are taking place in the national capital. The focus clearly on how India moves forward, the next strategic, diplomatic and military steps that India will take to counter Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. Even at a time, viewers, when Pakistan's own ministers are exposing their country by saying that TRF was removed from the UNSC statement and that the Pakistani administration pressurized them to remove the TRF, which is responsible for this for the terror attack that happened in Pahalgam that took place. Let's also tell you, more about all these big meetings that are scheduled to take place. The first one has already concluded. The Cabinet Committee on Security, Prime Minister, Defence Minister, the Home Minister, Finance Minister, the EAM, the NSA and Cabinet Secretary, as well as Defence Secretary. They're all part of this meeting that took place at the Prime Minister's residence. The second meeting, viewers, that is currently underway as we speak is the Cabinet Committee on Political Affairs. That includes the Defence Minister, the Home Minister, the Road Transport Minister, the Health Minister, the Finance Minister and several other senior union ministers who will be participating and deciding on India's strategic moves. The third meeting of the day would be that of Cabinet's Economic Affairs Committee, the CCA meeting. And of course, that will include a lot of, discussions and deliberations on how India moves forward as far as the economic considerations of how it responds to Pak-sponsored terrorism is concerned. And the fourth meeting of the day, ladies and gentlemen, will be a cabinet meeting by the Government of India, briefing about, all the decisions that have been taking place through the day today. So four crucial meetings that are taking place. Remember, the government is making relentless efforts and strategizing very carefully on how it responds to Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. My colleague Pradeep Datta is outside the Prime Minister's residence in the national capital. Pradeep, what are you hearing right now? The CCPA is underway. The Cabinet Committee on Security meeting has concluded. What are the details that are emerging from this meeting?
You rightly said that CCS meeting is over, now CCPA meeting has started. This meeting is really very significant. Why I'm saying it's very significant? Because last time the CCPA meeting was held in 2019 February. That means 2 days after Pulwama bombing at that time. Also they had discussed about the various measures. And during CCPA meeting, there will be many of the cabinet ministers who will be present, who will be the part of the security. And then during this meeting, they are also going to discuss about few of the measures that they have taken and what will be the steps in the future that they are going to take. Because right now the focus will be on the kinetic action, the military action they have to take. Because in this first CCS meeting, they decided about certain diplomatic measures. The diplomatic measures were like they wanted to stop visas, they cancelled visas, and they also closed Atari border. Not only that, they also put in this border treaty on fees. That has already rattled Pakistan. But now there are certain more measures that are to be taken to ensure that Pakistan is completely squeezed. And yes, that important measure that they will be discussing and talking about, that will be the military option, what India is going to take. Because already Prime Minister has given free hand to armed forces. He said that he has full faith in armed forces. It is for the armed forces to decide their target. It's for the armed forces to decide when they are going to launch that attack, because they do not want to put any kind of a pressure. They do not want to say that this is the window during this period only you have to act and react, because they want to give them a free hand because they have to keep in mind what will be the retaliation from the adversary. So keeping in mind everything, the retaliation from adversary, economic impact, everything, accordingly that attack will be launched. So that way they have enough time, armed forces, that they are already well prepared because they are just waiting for green signal. So our cabinet meeting was really very important. Whatever discussions were held during the war cabinet meeting that was discussed during CCS, now during CCPA also that will be discussed, and later on there will be a cabinet meeting. And what actually idea behind all these meetings is now today is that one, they are going to build the public opinion. Second, they are going to build the global opinion also in favor of India. India has to tell the global community that why these military options were really very important. Once the military options are conducted and carried out against Pakistan, their adversary, because who had been leading India 1,000 cuts for the last several decades. Because one thing what India will be telling the world is that, see, as a country, it's our responsibility to take care about our citizens. If lives of our citizens are being lost because of Pak-sponsored terrorism, so it's our responsibility to hit out at the fountainhead that is on the Pakistan side. So if certain measures we are taking, it is keeping in view the lives of our people, because as a country, we can't just sit idle and do nothing. So if Americans have done it, Israel has done it, we too have a right to do it. So there are several measures they will be looking into, whether it can be Balakot kind of a strike, whether it can be the strike with the first surgical strike that they carried out after Uri, or whether it will be kind what the Americans did, how they were able to get rid of Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, whether they will be going after those terror assets operating from Pakistan soil like Hafiz Saeed or Masood Azhar. So these are the different options they will be looking into. And economic factor during the economic meeting will also be looked into. What will be the impact of this war that they will be having? That I'm not using the word war, the kinetic option that they will be using against Pakistan. So what impact it will have on the economy and how we have to deal with that. So everything will be discussed threadbare during this meeting, and throughout the day there will be several meetings. But all I can say, final countdown has begun, and that's one of the reasons that it has sent shivers down the spine of Pakistan, and it's giving them sleepless nights. Last in the middle of the night, yesterday we saw that information minister having a press conference and saying that they know that within 24 to 36 hours India can launch a scaling attack on them. This clearly shows that Pakistan is now trembling. They know that here is a prime minister who means business. If he says something, he will ensure that that thing is fulfilled.
Pradeep, what's also interesting is that even as India strategizes its response against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, its own ministers are giving away and exposing the country. You've got Pakistani minister at a global forum like the United Nations saying that we made sure that the UNSC statement will not include TRF as those who are responsible for this dastardly, horrific attack on innocent civilians. And that is, of course, the kind of hypocrisy that Pakistan has been displaying one after the other, saying we are victims of terrorism. But at the same time, it's obvious, it's very, very clear that they are the perpetrators of terrorism. Pradeep, I'll come back to you. Right now, viewers, we're also getting information on what's likely to be on the agenda in these 4 key meetings. Remember, Times Now has accessed the inside scoop on India's next move. According to sources, all matters related to economy, foreign policy, aviation and trade will be discussed in these meetings. So India clearly charting its way and strategizing its actions as far as its response is concerned. Extremely crucial, whether it's the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister of the country, the External Affairs Minister, the 3 service chiefs or the National Security Advisor, all strategizing and deliberating upon what can be done in response. But remember, these very, very significant meetings that are going to be taking place, CCS is over, CCPA is underway, CCEA is expected next, and in the end there's a cabinet meeting that is expected as well. Matters related to foreign policy, aviation, trade, economy, all of these will be deliberated upon. My colleague Pragya is getting us more on this. Pragya, what's the latest that you have?
Well, all these 3 meetings are having all the important union ministers. Along with them, their secretaries are also be present, because there could be some kind of information that government might be needing, and so the availability of the secretaries is also necessary. So there are also multi-pronged replies and responses that India is also giving in wake of this Pahalgam terror attack. And also, in fact, what are the measures that Pakistan has took, like, having no air fly zone for India, all of that, and also no trade with the third country will not be allowed through Pakistan. All of that implication is going to be also discussed, not just this, what Pakistan has did, but also what India is going to take steps, and in that way, what could be the repercussion, what could be the action that could be taken by Pakistan and other countries. So all of that in wake of economy, how we need to also shield it from the impacts of it, the decision that India is going to take, trade, in fact aviation, all of that is going to be discussed, and part of it is what we are given to understand. It's a multi-pronged strategy that the country is making, and in fact this is going to be discussed, in fact told to the ministers and who will be present in CCS and CCEA meeting. Remember, this is also important meeting as far as the economic strategy is concerned, and also the implication. CCPA is also about the political implication. So all of that is, this particular today, it's a very important day for the country and also for the government, as many of the key decisions will be communicated to these union ministers, and also if there is any preparation needed on their part, that will be is going to be told to them to keep ready, and also to ensure that everything is ready for if in case there is some need when the India takes step against Pakistan, which is very which is impending in fact, and Prime Minister has said it time and again that there is going to be a retaliation, and we are given to understand that there is going to be an adequate response to Pahalgam terror attack, is what government is intending. But right. These key meetings and all the key union ministries having been prepared for every kind of contingency is also a larger message that the India is sending to all those who are watching the developments in India very closely.
The entire country is closely watching, and not just the entire country, but across the world. Countries are keeping a close watch on how India responds to Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. Pradeep, to you, the fact that India has been carrying out these hectic parlays through the day today, since this Pahalgam terror attack happened today, we saw the second CCS meeting. Simultaneously, we're also seeing Pakistan's own people exposing Pakistan's hypocrisy, their own ministers coming out and making statements like, we pressurize the UNSC to not include TRF in the statement condemning the Pahalgam terror attack. You had the Pakistani Foreign Affairs Minister saying, we have been doing the dirty work for the West since the past several decades. Just validating what India has been reiterating time and again, that Pakistan is the perpetrator of terrorism in the world.
Yes, once again, their mantris have unmasked the ugly face of Pakistan. A recent statement has come from the Deputy Prime Minister where he was in fact rejoicing and patting on his back himself, saying that how he got the name of TRF, that means the Resistance Forum, omitted from the United Nations Security Council press release. So, and obvious reason is that China must have definitely helped them, because in the past also we have seen that how China has tried to block when India really wanted Masood Azhar to be declared as a global terrorist. But it was finally that India was able to convince the world after three occasions. Finally, China had also to agree to that, declaring him as a global terrorist. But here in this particular case, now the question arises, because they often say that TRF has nothing to do with Lashkar-e-Toiba. They say it's an indigenous organization. It is operating from the Indian side. It is basically the freedom fighters there who are fighting and waging war against India. So if it is an Indian organization operating from the Kashmir side, then why Pakistan was acting as a spokesperson for TRF? Why they really wanted the TRF name to be omitted? And the second question arises that how come they knew within just few hours that TRF is not at all involved? And they said that when they came out with the first press release, in which the TRF has said that they are responsible for this attack, they are taking the responsibility of Pahalgam attack, they said that was not the real thing. That clearly shows that TRF is aided, abetted, sponsored by Pakistan. It's a proxy of Lashkar-e-Toiba, and because of the pressure from the security forces, finally there was a U-turn from the TRF side. They have to come out with a press release to say, deny their role in Pahalgam attack, because earlier they had claimed that they had a role in Pahalgam attack, but because of the pressure of the security forces, because after Prime Minister asserted that mitti mein mila dunga, we saw that those words were translated into action, right, and security forces started blasting their homes come hideouts, because...
Yes, Pradeep and Pragya, I'll keep coming back to you for the latest that's happening in the national capital. The second meeting of the day taking place, viewers, as we've been telling you, multiple meetings that are lined up through the day today. We'll keep getting you minute-to-minute updates to what is happening in these very crucial meetings that are underway in the national capital. But for now, let's also tell you how Pakistan has been provoking India. Pakistan's pattern of provocation